What's up, boxing fans? It's your boy Divine Sense Boxing, back on top of my building, Bangkok, Thailand, right behind me. Perfect place to talk about this amazing fight, Canelo Alvarez versus Bud Crawford. This is part 2, where we're going to talk about keys to victory and talk about their styles. I've done my film studies, hours and hours of looking back in past fights and trying to pick apart different things that I think both fighters can utilize to win this fight. First and foremost, as far as Bud Crawford is concerned, we don't know if he's going to come out southpaw or orthodox, maybe a little bit of both. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to show the styles, keys to victory of Bud Crawford in the southpaw stance, because I think there's a 60-40 chance that he's going to be primarily southpaw. So I could be wrong, but when you got a switch hitter like Bud, it's always hard to say which way he's going to come out. All right, so I wanted to throw that out there. On that note, let's go ahead and continue talking about Bud Crawford and a little bit about his style and how I think he's going to start early in the fight. Let's step away from the camera a little bit. One thing about Bud is he's got this wide stance a lot of times, right? Now in boxing, it's one of those things where a wide stance and more narrow stance, you know, for me, it's about body mechanics and your anatomy when it comes to boxing. Kind of like when you work out a deadlift or a squat or a bench press, you can have your hand placement and your feet a little bit different depending on how you're built. So I think the wide stance for Bud works well for him. He's long, especially in his arms. Right? So I think this is going to be his stance in the southpaw position, and for sure in the beginning of the fight, he's going to come out, you know, make his target small, move his head a little bit, keep his head off the line, and he's going to use that long jab, right, to kind of hopefully set the pace, because he knows that Canelo's a slow starter. So I think he's going to come out and he's going to step in with that big long jab, boom, boom, and double it up sometimes, right? He's going to keep that foot on the outside and he's going to change the angle, bam, and pop it in there, right? Boom, go to the body, and he's going to check for Canelo's reaction, I think. Right, so I think early in the fight, he's going to be finding that range, right, taking his time, keeping that wide stance, just in case, you know, Canelo decides to try to come in on him, you know, he can take a real quick step back, right, and keep those long arms out in front of him, right. Now, the thing about Bud in comparison to other Canelo opponents, we're talking like Billy Joe Saunders, who's a really good boxer, and some others, you know, he's so accurate. His jab, in my opinion, especially in the southpaw position, because I think that he's right hand dominant. That's my opinion, okay? Just by watching his fights. So I think that right hand is so long, it's so accurate, it's so sharp. I think he has one of the best, you know, southpaw stance jabs in the business. That's just my opinion. And I think it's going to be something that Canelo's going to have to work around, because Canelo has struggled against long, accurate jabs in previous fights. All right, now as the fight goes on, I feel like Bud is then going to start to try to find the left hand, and he's going to try to start hooking off his jab, right? And the thing I love about Bud is that he, you know, he keeps his distance pretty well. A lot of people criticize him because they say, oh, you know, he lets his hands down, he's a bit reckless. The only time he ever does that is when he has his opponent hurt. Other than that, he keeps his spacing really good. So eventually, once he's pumping out that jab, and he likes to step into it, he likes to make you feel the jab. He's not one of these guys that's kind of like, you know, popping it out there, popping it out there. Now he steps into it, and he's really good because he's got such a long reach to kind of take that little step back, right, to stay out of the danger zone. And that 3.5, 4-inch reach advantage is something that you can't just turn a blind eye to, which the shorter arm Canelo is going to have to use his footwork to get past that jab. Now, we'll talk about Canelo in a minute. Just hold your horses. So I feel like Bud is going to establish that jab, and then he's going to start to shoot that left hand down the pipe and get into that body. He's going to sometimes jab body or go jab, and he's going to test down the pipe as well. We know that Canelo's got a really nice tight guard. Defense is really good, got excellent punch resistance. So I think Bud is going to test that, right? Up and down, body, head, and then he's going to start hooking off of it. So he's going to step in, he's going to step around, bam, right? He's going to start hooking and force Canelo to continue to pivot and move. And I just feel like Bud is really going to box, right? He's going to, bam, and he's going to stay here, bam, right? Sticking it, bam, sticking it, right? Maybe taking a page out of Sugar Ray Leonard's playbook when he fought Marvelous Marvin Hagler. And a lot of people say, oh, they're not the same fighter. Sugar Ray and Bud, two different fighters. Sugar Ray was a lot faster, a lot more boxing. True, but nonetheless, Marvelous and Marvin Hagler was the biggest puncher and as a middleweight, and maybe one of the best punchers of all time, best chins, most durability, best conditioning of all time. And Canelo's got a lot of similarities to that, right? And so that's one way you control the bull, is you got to be the matador, especially in the beginning. Okay, now let's talk about Canelo, beginning part of the fight. Like I said, I think Canelo is going to be really patient. You know, he's got the little bounce, but more or less, he kind of stalks you, right? He's got the high guard, and he's kind of like, yeah, I got my hands up. I want you to punch me because I want to check your range. So, you know, when Bud throws that jab, you know, he's gonna catch it, right? He's gonna catch it on his arms. He's gonna parry it out, and he like to stalk you. But he's got a pretty decent jab himself. He kind of puts his back foot, I don't know if you guys can see it in the camera, he kind of puts his back foot at an angle like that. And it gives him a lot of pushing power off of his jab, right? And I like that about him. So he comes in, and he really has this real powerful lower body. And for those who don't know, Canelo rides a lot of horses, right? So he's got a super strong core and strong legs and squeezing the horse all the time. And he jumps out like a catapult when he does his jab as well. He's got this high guard, classic boxing stance, boom, powerful jab, and steps into it. And he kind of just has that nice, beautiful rhythm when he pumps that jab out. So with that reach disadvantage, what I think Canelo's going to do is when Bud throws his jab, he's going to parry, he's going to catch, and he's going to shoot in with his own jab, right? He's going to catch, shoot in with his own jab, and try to catch Bud with a nice, short, stiff jab. Now, Canelo's also pretty clever, more clever than what people give him credit for. And Bud has a lot of athleticism, right? Southpaw stance. So Bud has a lot of athleticism, so he's going to catch on to that. He's trying to come in on the inside of my jab. This guy, he thinks he's slick. And he's also got really good reflexes of pulling his head back, right? So I think what Canelo might do is start punching. And his jab coming in, parry, boom, and a little bit lower with the jab and trying to catch Bud right in the chest. Start jabbing that sternum. So when Bud's here, he's going to jab the bicep, jab the shoulder, and jab the chest. As long as he's hitting something and he's putting in punishment, that's what Canelo likes to do. But slow, right? You know, Canelo's here. First 3-4 rounds. He's here, high guard, stalking, bam, jab. Every once in a while, he might jab, hold it out, bam, let me throw a right hand. Let me see what that does. Yeah, he comes in, and every once in a while, he'll throw a little left hook in there. He puts it there, bam, let me see what that does, right? So that's what he does in the beginning part of the fight. Now, one thing about Bud that could be to his detriment is he gets a little bit loose when he feels like he's been able to land a good punch, and sometimes he jumps the gun a little bit when he finds his opponent a little bit hurt. Notice in Errol Spence, right? And Errol Spence is not the same as Canelo. One, Canelo's a bigger fighter, fighting at a higher weight class for longer, and he's got better punch resistance. It is what it is. So with Spence, he knocked down Spence with a jab. That's probably not going to happen with Canelo. He may land it, but I don't see Canelo going down with the jab. So if, let's say, he lands a solid jab and snaps Canelo head back, he's got to be patient. He's got to be disciplined. Because if he gets a little bit too overconfident, like he did against Spence, and starts loading up, and we know Bud likes to throw these long, rangy, long-reaching shots from underneath because he's got such a long reach. But Canelo is the master, right, of getting on the inside of those long punches and stepping in. As you're reaching out, right, with the long shot coming in, with those long arms, right, he's coming across with that big right hand, bam, right? And the one weapon, if Bud decides to go southpaw, that's gonna affect Bud is that right hand. And you saw it so many times when he fought Billy Joe, for example. That right hand was devastating against Billy Joe. And so Canelo's been in the game long enough. He knows those long rangy punches, I'm going to catch it. I'm going to step in nice and short. I'm going to catch it on the elbow, step in. I'm going to catch it on the elbow, step in. I'm going to catch it on the glove, step in. And he's short and he's compact, right? And he's powerful. So that's the one thing about Bud that I'm a little bit concerned, is that if he's sharp and he's quick and he loads and he steps out and he picks Canelo apart, bam, 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 I think he's got a better chance. So keys to victory here. Keys to victory for me is Bud, like I said, needs to just be as patient and as sharp as he needs to be. Crisp, sharp punches, get out of the way, move around, right? Bam! Use your reach, right? Up, down, hook off the jab. And if Canelo wants to come in and use his little movement and try to come in on you, and you're up on the ropes, tie him up. Yeah, tie him up. Use your wrestling ability, right? Make the referee split you up so you can get your jab back out there. For Canelo, keys to victory is all about a phrase that I like to use called catch and shoot, right? So you're catching a shot and you're shooting a shot. You know that Bud is at the reach advantage. You know he's accurate. You know he's fast. You know he's tough. You know he's athletic. Don't let ego and pride get the best of you and try to out-athletic the athlete, okay? No need for that. This is boxing. It takes more than athleticism, right? You're well-rounded. You're experienced. Use that. You've been in more fights. You've been in more wars, right? So you've been there. You've done that. So use that. Be patient. And what you need to do is stay tight, stay compact, and you know, once you get comfortable, start catching his shots, parry out, step in, bam. Start doubling up. Catch, shoot, right? Catch, shoot. Step to him. Get him to the ropes. Do what you do best. Quick, powerful shots. Bang, bang, right? Make him feel your weight. Make him feel that experience. No need to start reaching. No need to get, undisciplined. And no need to tire yourself out. But as far as conditioning is concerned, if I'm Canelo, I'm patient, I'm methodical. If the knockout comes, it comes. But I'm going to make him feel the pain. I'm going to make him feel the suffering. I'm going to sit down on my punches and short, quick, sharp punches to the body, to the liver. I'm going to make my jab, nice and smooth and sweet. You take him into deep waters. Put water in that basement, as Teddy Atlas likes to say. You put the water in the basement. You slow the athlete down. You get into his body. You get into the 9, 10, 11 championship rounds, and then you can try to drop the hammer. But as I said in part 1, I don't see Bud knocking out Canelo. I see him winning if he follows what I just said. If he's sharp and disciplined, keeps it nice and tight, defensively sound, puts points in the bank, hit him with clean shots. You don't have to try to knock out this man. You got to win the fight, and you got to win it convincingly, okay? You're the athlete. You're the longer fighter. You have a lot of attributes to beat this man. But If you get overconfident, you get loose, you let your hands go too much or too early, you will get caught. Although I have Bud Crawford win this fight by decision, if there is a knockout on this fight, it will be Canelo knocking out Bud Crawford with a shot that Crawford doesn't see. And that'll be all she wrote, in my opinion. So it's either going one way or the other. I don't see Canelo winning a decision simply because he's a slow starter. And I think that Bud will put enough points in the bank to secure him a victory, even if Canelo starts to do well in the later part of the fight and start to win some rounds. I don't think it'll be enough, in my opinion. So Canelo for knockout or Bud for decision. And that's where I have it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Keys to victory, a little bit about the styles. I might do a part 3, but for sure, I'm probably gonna go live and open up a panel and let people come in and debate this fight as we start to inch closer and closer. Super excited. This is why I love boxing. This fight is for the ages. So stay tuned for my future videos. If you're not subscribed, make sure you give it a nice right uppercut and make sure you jab that like button. Peace.